What's up, everyone? Welcome back here at the Neon Pavilion. My name is Niklas and we are outside today, very much inspired by the theme of the Junior Eurovision 2024, as that's what we're going to be talking about today. We got a lot of Junior Eurovision news today, actually. We got both the participating countries, we got the theme art and slogan, and finally we also got the stage. So lots to talk about, and I thought let's just go over all of it here today. I thought that would be pretty fun, and I usually do these videos every single year, both for Senior and Junior Eurovision, where I talk about the logo and slogan. So let's go. 17 countries will be participating this year, one more country than we've had in the past couple of years. We say welcome back to Cyprus and San Marino, two countries that I definitely didn't have on my bingo list in terms of countries that I thought would return to Junior Eurovision. But of course, it's nice to see them back. It's always nice to see countries back, and we already know who's going to represent Cyprus. We have maybe an idea. There's definitely some rumors going around on who could possibly represent San Marino. It's going to be very interesting to see, and hopefully the two countries will be staying in the contest moving forward. But of course, this year we also say goodbye to the United Kingdom that has participated in the past two editions, which I think is really sad. They really brought some quality in the past couple of entries, and they've always done so, even back when it was ITV that arranged their participation back in the beginning of the Junior Eurovision history. So very sad to see them back. I have heard some rumors that some of the team inside of the BBC are changing up for the next Eurovision season, which obviously should get everyone a little bit worried, but let's hope that they eventually someday change their mind and get back to Junior Eurovision once more. Other than that, we have the countries that participated last year as well. Kazakhstan did say that they wanted to return this year, but eventually they ended up ruling out participation. And if you ask me, I don't think we should expect Kazakhstan being back into the competition. It's a shame. They really brought some quality acts, but it is what it is. The theme of the Junior Eurovision this year is definitely flowers in bloom. That is both present in the design, but it's also present in the slogan, which is called Let's Bloom. The graphics are actually pretty simple. They mostly consist of these flowers, which I'm no botanist, so I don't know what flowers they are. If you know, let me know down in the comments, but I don't think it matters too much. The flowers are the main event. They are the main graphic alongside, of course, the slogan, and then a background which consists of a 4-point gradient. This gradient, by the way, is very similar to the one that we've seen ever since Madrid was announced as the host city and Spain was announced as the host country for this year's Junior Eurovision. So I have a feeling that this design has been planned for a little while. And the colors are actually also really similar to the colors we saw in Malmö earlier this year, which I didn't realize until I started editing this video, but they are strikingly very similar to the Malmö design. This design also embodies the trend that I talked about when I talked about the Eurovision 2024 graphics, and in general, something that I feel like we've seen over the last years, which is that we're going away from the emblem era, which I like to call the era of Eurovision logos, where there was this big emblem that was the logo for the year, and then the Eurovision generic logo was just sometimes pushed off to the side or even made so small that you could barely see it. I feel like that's not the case anymore. The EBU really wants the Eurovision generic logo to be the logo for the contest. You can see that from Malmö this year. You can definitely see it from Madrid this year as well. I feel like I can't really decide if I like this or not. I think it's nice and simple, and one of the things I really enjoy about it is that the animations that we've seen so far of the flowers, they feel very smooth, they feel very pretty. It feels like that this is very much professionally done, and it feels like there's also going to be a lot of movement in it. I think that's something that's missing sometimes. Like, it's difficult to design something that works well, that's both static and that can also be used in movement for on-screen graphics. And sometimes there's a little bit more focus on one part, I feel like. So it's nice to see that this is very much made with movement in mind. And even the static graphics feels like that there is some sort of moving and that it is alive. So I think in that regard, it's very well done, but I think it's also a little anonymous, and I think what's most surprising for me is the fact that this doesn't feel very Spanish at all. You know, it's been 55 years since RTVE of Spain has last hosted a Eurovision event. We know how much the Spanish love Eurovision. We know how much that they've been dying to host a Eurovision event for so many years. So the fact that this doesn't feel extremely Spanish, especially if we compare it to something like, you know, when France hosted back in 2021 and they tried to make us all believe that that logo was definitely a Christmas tree and not the Eiffel Tower. Like, if you think about that, this feels very much like any country could have done it. In fact, I feel like it feels almost more Japanese, like a cherry bloom inspired, than it feels Spanish. Let me know if I'm completely wrong. I don't know a lot about Spanish culture, if I'm being honest, but I feel like if they really wanted to go for that more like stereotypical Spanish feel, this doesn't have that, but maybe they did that on purpose. I feel like I'm gonna give the design this year a B. Like, it's not amazing, it's not the best, but it's definitely not one of the worst that we've seen. And I also feel like that there is a chance that my mind will change once we actually get to the show, because like I said, this feels like something that very much has those motions in mind. So once we get closer and we actually see some of the on-screen graphics, we see the postcards, maybe I'll love the theme more. But at least one thing that I will applaud them for is the fact that the slogan and the graphics feel very tightly together. The slogan for this year is "Let's Bloom," and the idea of it is that it's finding who you are, and it's about young people's journey into music to be on a big stage for maybe the first time in their life. This slogan very much encompasses what Junior Eurovision is about, and in fact I think Junior Eurovision has been a lot better at this compared to the grown-ups Eurovision. I feel like a lot of what we've seen over the years has it's just felt more like the slogan of the contest really reflects what the contest is about, and I like that about it. That being said, I've talked about it a million times. You know my feelings about these slogans for these contests. I was interested to see if they were gonna go down the route that they did for the Eurovision Song Contest and maybe use United by Music as the Junior Eurovision slogan as well, or to give the contest its own generic slogan. I don't think Let's Bloom is gonna be that, so I don't think we're gonna see that happening anytime soon. But all in all, it fits the graphic, it fits the theme, and it fits the embodiment of what the contest is, so I can't complain too much. The stage design I actually think is very pretty. Just like with the graphics, it's very simple, but I don't think it has to be anything more spectacular than that. We have a round stage once more, but I feel like unlike what we saw in Yerevan, where I feel like the stage was just a little bit too big, and some of the acts that only had that single performer on stage, it felt like they were eaten up by the huge stage. From the renders that we have so far, I don't feel like that's the case this year, and I think that's very important. I think it is also a smaller venue. It's a venue about the same size that we saw last year in Nice, so I think that's a good size. You know, the 5,000 to 7,000 spectators, I feel like that's a good size for a Junior Eurovision contest. It's about half of what we usually have in Eurovision, so I think that fits well for the show being kind of like half the size of a normal Eurovision. I like that they're once again keeping the style. They're really using this whole flowers in bloom as the theme throughout all of this. I hope that we see something like we saw in Turin, where we actually have some real foliage in the arena, some nice plants or something, because I thought that looked really nice. I know that a lot of people complained about it, and you know, they felt like maybe a little bit too much love and care was spent on that compared to the sun. But I think it's a nice, beautiful addition, and especially when the theme art of this year feels so much alive and it's about being in bloom. I know that we are at the end of November, which is definitely a time that flowers aren't really in bloom, but you know what I mean, but I think it could look very nice. And I'm also very interested to see if those graphics that we're seeing behind the LED panel, are those LED screens, or are they actually some form of flower, either like light fixtures to look like flowers? Are they a static LED which will only be displaying that? Only time will tell. Once we actually get into that they start building the stage, we will know a lot more about that. But I do hope that it has some sort of like unique element, so it isn't just like an LED screen and then LED screens behind it. The center LED feels nice. It's not too big. They say on the Junior Eurovision website where you read about it that it is inspired by, you know, the vertical videos, the TikToks of the world. Sure, I guess it very much feels like something that an executive would come up with as an idea when they didn't know anything about children's television. They didn't know anything about children in general. It's like, what do children like? Oh yeah, phone screens. I always love when people have to come up with these ways to try to explain their design, to say, oh no, it's much more than you think. There's this whole other hidden meaning to it. Just say you put an LED screen there because you have to put an LED screen there. Like, it doesn't matter, I feel like. But all in all, I think it looks modern. I think it looks sleek. And I think, again, I've said it a few times, but everything this year just feels like it ties very well together. And we don't always see that in Junior Eurovision. Sometimes either the stage or the graphics or a slogan are an afterthought. It doesn't feel like that's the case this year. It feels like it really has been workshopped to be its own thing and to have a theme that goes all the way throughout the contest. Very similar to what we saw in Eurovision back in 2018 with All Aboard, which is one of my favorite Eurovision looks of the past couple of years, because it felt so complete and it felt like everything was thought through and everything felt like it fit to the theme and the idea of it. And from what we've seen so far, and from we've also heard that the postcards will also be inspired by something being in bloom. You know, I do think visually this is going to be a very stunning contest. And you would expect that, right? You know, RTV has really been wanting to host the Eurovision event for so long. I really do think that they're spending a lot of money and effort putting their best people into this. And you can tell, no matter if you like this look or not, you can tell that a lot of thought and care and money has been spent to make a really good design and theme art for this year. So I gotta applaud them for that. I do think that it's going to look fabulous. Those are my thoughts. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments below. More Junior Eurovision videos will of course be coming in the next couple of months building up to the contest. We are officially in September. We officially know who's going to participate. So I think Junior Eurovision season has officially started. We have a lot of national finals coming up, of course, and I am very excited. I think it's going to be a great year for the contest. And it'll make us forget some of the lesser nice things about the Eurovision this year. So that's always great. Thank you for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe for more Neon Pavilion content. And then I'll hopefully see you guys for the next video. Take care.